You're welcome on Black Fly Network. It is a Friday. Today is the beginning of weekend. Weekend normally begins on Thursday. I'm Innosetu with my colleague Maria. We are broadcasting here. She's around. We are broadcasting live from Kampala, Uganda. Today it has shined a lot. I've had a lot of hot temperatures today. But hope you're doing good wherever you're watching from. You're doing good. Everything is moving on well with whatever you're doing uh, outside there. Yeah. Today's topic is about Tanzania, the Republic of Tanzania. Yeah. We know that this is a country that borders Uganda in the south. Yeah, it borders Uganda in the south. It is actually the biggest, if I'm not mistaken, it's the biggest East African country, Tanzania. So today we are going to talk about the Republic of course, Tanzania, the social, the political, the economic status quo of Tanzania, and of course some challenges Tanzania has been facing since independence and even during the time when colonialism was still in Africa. So we are going to discuss, we are going to be talking about, that's where we are going to be centering our focal point today. So Tanzania as a country is official, of course, the United Republic of Tanzania is a country in East Africa within African Great Lakes region. It is of course bordered by Uganda to the north, just like I said. Tanzania borders Uganda in the south, Kenya to the northeast, and of course Indian Ocean to the east, Mozambique and Malawi to the south, and Zambia to the southwest, and Rwanda and Burundi, of course, and Democratic Republic of Congo to the west. So Mountain Kilimanjaro, Africa's highest mountain, is in northeast Tanzania, according to the 2022 national census. So Tanzania has a population of nearly 62 million people by now. Yeah, Uganda is trying to chase Tanzania in population because for now today Uganda is estimated to be having around 59 million people, so making it the most populous country located entirely south of the equator. So many important hominid fossils have been, of course, found in Tanzania, such as the 6 million-year-old, of course, Pliocene hominoid fossil in the Stone and Bronze Age. The prehistoric migrations into Tanzania include southern Cushitic speakers who moved south from present-day Ethiopia, eastern Cushitic people, of course, the Tanzania, or like I said, the Eastern Cushitic people who moved into Tanzania from Lake Tana about 2,000 years to 4,000 years ago, and the Southern Nilotics, uh, including the Togo, who originated from the present-day southern Sudan, Ethiopia border region between 2,000 years ago. So these movements took place at about the same time as the settlement of Mashiriki Bantu from West Africa in the Lake Victoria and Lake Tanganyika areas. In the late 19th century, the mainland came under German rule as German East Africa, and this was followed by British rule after World War I, when it was governed as Tanganyika, with Zanzibar, of course, archipelago remaining a separate colonial jurisdiction. So following their respective independence in 1961 and 1963, the two entities merged in 1964 to form the United Republic of Tanzania. So Tanganyika joined the British Commonwealth, and Tanzania remains a member of the Commonwealth as a unified republic. So today the country is a presidential constitutional republic with a federal capital located in government of city, in a government city, Dodoma. So the former capital, Dar es Salaam, retains most government offices. We see that maintains most government offices, um, and is the country's largest city. So principal port and leading commercial center. So Tanzania is a de facto one-party state with the Democratic Socialist, of course, Chama Mapinduzi Party in power. So the country has not, of course, experienced major internal strife since independence, and it is seen as one of the safest and most politically stable on the continent. Tanzania's population comprises about 120 ethnic, linguistic, and religious groups. So Christianity is the largest religion in Tanzania, with substantial Muslim and, of course, animist minorities. Over 100 languages are spoken in Tanzania, including the Swahili, that is most common in the area. So making it the most linguistically diverse country in East Africa. So the country, of course, does not have the jure official language per now, although the national language is Swahili. So English is used in foreign trade, in diplomacy, and higher courts, and as a medium of instruction in secondary and higher education, with Arabic being spoken in Zanzibar, because Zanzibar is yet to be, is also part of Tanzania. So Tanzania is mountainous and, of course, densely forested in the northeast, where Mountain Kilimanjaro, the highest mountain in Africa and the highest single free standing mountain above the sea level in the world, is located. Three of the Africa's Great Lakes are partly within Tanzania. The three Africa's greatest lakes, they are within Tanzania. To the north and where lie Lake Victoria, Africa's largest lake, and of course Lake Tanganyika. The continent's deepest lake, known for its unique, of course, species of fish. To the south lies Lake Malawi. So this eastern shore is hot and humid, with the Zanzibar, of course, archipelago just offshore. So the Manai Bay Conservation Area in Zanzibar is the largest marine protected area. The Kalambo Falls, located on the Kalambo River at the Zambian border, is the second highest uninterrupted waterfall in Africa. So Tanzania is one of the most visited tourist destinations for safaris. Talking about where the name Tanzania was created as a cryptic compound of names of the two states that unified to create the country, and that was Tanganyika and Zanzibar. So it consists of the first three letters of the names of the two states, Tan and Zan, and the suffix ya. So the name Tanganyika is derived from the Swahili word tanga, sail, and nyika, uninhibited plain or wilderness. So creating the phase, of course, sail in the wilderness. It's sometimes understood as the reference of Lake Tanganyika. So the name of Zanzibar derived from the Zanji, so the name of the local people said to mean black, and of course Arabic Bral coast of the shore. So Tanzania is one of the oldest continuously inhabited areas on the earth. Traces of fossils remain of humans and hominids date back to the Quaternary era. So the Olduvai Gorge in Tanzania, in the, of course, in Ngorongoro Conservation Area, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, World Heritage Site features a collection with, of course, remnants of tools that document the development and use of transitional technology. So the indigenous populations of Eastern Africa are thought to be the linguistically isolated, of course, Hadza and Sandwave hunter-gatherers of Tanzania. The first wave of migration was the Southern Cushitic speakers who moved south from, of course, Ethiopia and Somalia into Tanganyika. They are, of course, ancestral to the uh, they are. We see that these Cushitic speakers, they are ancestral to Iraqi, Goro, and of course Burungu, based on linguistic evidence. So there may also have been two movements into Tanzania of Eastern Cushitic people at the 4 to 2000 years ago, originating from the north of Lake Tana. So archaeological evidence, of course, supports the conclusion that southern Nilotes, including the Dantogo, moved south from the present-day Southern Sudan and Ethiopian border region into the central North Tanzanian border around 2000 years ago. So these movements took place at approximately the same time as the settlement of the iron-making Mashariki Bantu from West Africa in the Lake Victoria and Lake Tanganyika areas. They brought with them the West African planting tradition and the primary staple of yams. They subsequently migrated out of these regions across the rest of Tanzania between 2000 years ago. So Tanzania has that long history, that deep history when it comes to human existence, because Tanzania is very old. So, so the Eastern Nilotic people, including the Maasai and present-day bold recent migration from present-day Southern Sudan within the past 501, of course, 1,500 years ago, the people of Tanzania have been associated with the production of iron and steel. So the Pearl people were the main producers of the sought after iron for peoples who occupied the mountain regions of the northeastern Tanzania. The higher people on the western shores of Lake Victoria invented a type of high heat blast furnace, so which allowed them to forge carbon steel at temperatures exceeding uh, 1000 degrees Celsius, more than, of course, 1000 years ago. So travelers and merchants from the Persian Gulf and the Indian have visited the East African coast since early in the first millennium AD. So Islam was of course practiced by some of the Swahili coast as early as the 8th or 9th century. So talking about the Bantu speakers built, of course, farming and trade villages along the Tanzanian coast from the outset of the first millennium. So archaeological findings at the Fuku journey on the northwest coast of Zanzibar indicate a settled agriculture and fishing community from the 16th century. At least the considerable amount of the double founded indicates timber buildings and shell beads. Uh, so bead grinders and iron slag have been found at the site at that place. So there is evidence for limited engagement in long distance trade. A small amount of imported pottery has been found, less than 1% of the total pottery findings along the coast. So mostly from the Gulf and dated to 5 to 8 centuries back. So the similarity of contemporary sites such as Mokokotoni and Dar es Salaam indicate a unified group of communities that developed into the first center of the coastal maritime culture. So the coastal towns appear to have begun uh, engaged in Indian Ocean and inland African trade at the early period. So trade rapidly increased in importance and quantity beginning in the mid 8th century and by the close of the 10th century. So Zanzibar was one of the central Swahili trading towns. So growing in, of course, Egyptian and Persian shipping from the Red Sea and the Persian Gulf revitalized Indian Ocean trade, and of course, particularly after the Fatimid Caliphate located in Faust Cairo, that is Egypt. So Swahili agriculturists built increasingly dense settlements to tap into trade. These formings, the earliest Swahili city states, the Venda and Shonda Kingdom, of course Zimbabwe and Zimbabwe in South Africa and Zimbabwe respectively. So because a major producer of gold around the same period, economic, social and religious power was increasingly vested in Kira. So Tanzania's major, of course, medieval city-state is Kira. So Kira is controlled a number of smaller ports stretching down to modern-day Mozambique. So Farah became the major gold, of course, emporium, and Kira grew rich off the trade, lying in the south and the end of the Indian Ocean monsoons. So Kira major rivals lay to the north in the modern-day Kenya, and namely Mombasa and Malindi. Kira remained the major power in East Africa until the arrival of Portuguese at the end of the 15th century. So colonial, when we talk about colonial period within Tanzania, we can't forget talking about the German East Africa and the Tanganyika territory. So claiming the coastal of course strip, we see that Oman Sultan Said bin Sultan moved his capital to Zanzibar city in of course 1840 during the time. So Zanzibar became the center for the East African slave trade between 65 to 90% of the Arab Swahili population of Zanzibar were enslaved. So one of the most infamous slave traders on the East African coast was Tipu, who was of course the grandson of the enslaved African. The Nyamwezi slave traders operated under the leadership of Misiri and Mirambo. So according to we see that figures recorded to exporting over 700,000 slaves from Swahili coast during the 19th century, and the retention of over an estimated number of 800,000 on the coast in the 1890s. We see that slave trade was abolished. In 1863, the Holy Ghost Mission established an early reception center and depot at Zanzibar, and in 1877, responding to appeals of Henry Stanley following his trans-African expedition, and of course permission being given to the Saint missionaries like Edward Baxter and Henry Colley to establish inland missions. In 1885, Germany conquered the region that are now Tanzania minus Zanzibar by then, and incorporated them into German East Africa. The Supreme Council of course, the 1919 Paris Peace Conference awarded all the German East Africa to British on 7th May 1919 after the First World War over strenuous objections of Belgium. So the British Colonial Secretary Alfred Milner uh, and and of course the Belgian minister, of course, plenipotentiary to the conference. We see that Oates then negotiated the Anglo-Belgian Agreement in 1919, where Britain ceded the northwest German East African provinces of Rwanda, from Angola, and the Burundi to Belgium. Burundi. So the conference's mission on mandates ratified this agreement on 6th 1999 July. The Supreme Council accepted the agreement. We see that the agreement where the commission mandates, of course, agreed that the small Koyonga Triangle south of the Rovuma River would be given to the Portuguese Mozambique. Within it, we see that eventually becoming part of the independence of Mozambique. So the Commission reasoned that Germany had virtually forced Portugal to secede uh, the triangle in 1894. So the Treaty of Versailles was signed in, of course, 28th June 1919, although the treaty did not take effect until 1920. So on the date, we see that the German East Africa was transferred officially to Britain, Belgium, and Portugal. Also on the date, Tanganyika became the name of the British territory in the mid-1920s. So the British implemented a system of indirect rule in Tanzania. The Majimaji Rebellion between 1905 and 1907 was an uprising of several African tribes in German East Africa against the colonial authorities, in particular because of forced labor and, of course, deportation of certain tribes. It was the subject of a bloody repression, which of course combined with famine caused over 30,000 deaths among the native Tanzanian population by then. So during the World War II, between 1939 and 45, we see that about 100,000 people from Tanganyika joined the Allied forces and were among the 3,075 Africans who fought with those forces. Tanganyikans fought in units of the King's African Rifles during the East African Campaign in Somalia, and of course Abyssinia against the Italians in Madagascar, against the Vichy French during Madagascar campaign, and in Burma against the Japanese during the Burma campaign. Tanganyika was an important source of food during this war. So, and its export income increased greatly compared to the pre-war years of the Great Depression. Wartime demand, however, caused increased commodity prices and massive inflation within the colony. So, by 1954, Julius Nyerere transformed an organization into politically oriented Tanganyika African National Union (TANU). So, TANU's main objective was to achieve national sovereignty of Tanganyika by then. So a campaign to register new members was launched, and within a year, TANU had become a leading political organization in the country. So Nyerere became Minister of British administered Tanganyika in 1960 and continued as a Prime Minister when Tanganyika became independent in 1961. So talking about modern Tanganyika or modern Tanzania, we see that British rule came to an end in, of course, December 1961, where Queen Elizabeth II, who had, of course, acceded to British throne in 1952, continued to reign through the first year of Tanganyika's independence. But now, distinctly as Queen of Tanganyika, represented by the Governor General, Tanganyika are also joined British Commonwealth in 1961. And of course, in December 1962, Tanganyika became a democratic republic under executive president. After the Zanzibar Revolution overthrew the Arab dynasty that, of course, had ruled Zanzibar for some good time, in of course, the neighboring Zanzibar, accompanied with slaughter of thousands of Arabs, of course, Zanzibaris, which had become independent in 1963. We see that the archipelago merged with mainland Tanganyika on 26 April 1964. So the new country was then named the United Republic of Tanganyika and Zanzibar. So on 29th October the same year, the country was renamed United Republic of Tanzania. So Tan, those sympathetic to, of course, the revolution, but was accepted by both the Nyerere government and the revolutionary government of Zanzibar, owing to share political values and goals. So following Tanganyika's independence and the unification with Zanzibar, leading to the start of Tanzania, President Nyerere emphasized a need to construct a national identity for citizens of the new country. To achieve this, Nyerere provided what he regarded as one of the most successful cases of ethnic diverse countries in Africa. Um, where within more than 130 languages spoken within its territory, Tanzania is one of the most ethnically, of course, diverse during that time. So furthermore, since its independence, Tanzania had, of course, has displaced more political stability than most African countries, particularly due to Nyerere's ethnic revolution methods. So, So we see that in 1967, Nyerere's first presidency took a turn to the left after the Arusha Declaration, which of course codified a commitment to socialism as well as Pan-Africanism after the declaration of banks and many large industries were nationalized. So Tanzania was also aligned with China by then, which from 1970 to 75 financed and helped build over very many roads, even the Tazara rail from Dar es Salaam to Zambia. So nonetheless, we see that from the late 1970s, Tanzania's economy took a turn for the worse in the context of international economic crisis affecting both developed and developing economies. So the neighboring Uganda in 1978, we see that under the leadership of President Idi Amin Dada invaded Tanzania. This disastrous invasion would of course culminate in Tanzania invading a war with the aid of Ugandan rebels and dispersing Idi Amin as a result of course, Uganda invading Tanzania by then. However, the war severely damaged Tanzania's economy by then. So, through the 1980s, conversation related to national parks such as Serengeti and Kilimanjaro, with Mountain Kilimanjaro um, as the tallest freestanding summit on the earth, were included, of course, in the UNESCO World Heritage List. So from the mid 1980s, the regime, of course, financed itself by borrowing from the International Monetary Fund and underwent some reforms. Since Tanzania's gross domestic product per capita has grown and poverty has been smoothly reduced according to a report from the World Bank. So in 1992, the Constitution of Tanzania was amended to allow multiple political parties in Tanzania. So in Tanzania's first multiple party election held in 1995, the ruling, of course, Jakaya Kikwete, who was, of course, who ruled from 2005 to 2015, John Magufuli from 2000, of course, 15 to 2021, of course, Samia Hassan Suruhu since 2021. Samia is the current president, by the way, of Tanzania. So, after the long tenure of President Nyerere, the Chama cha Mapinduzi (CCM) President Magufuli won a landslide victory and re-election in October 2020, according to the opposition. The election was full of fraud and illegalities. So, when we talk about President John Magufuli, of course, died from what they claim to be heart complications while in office in 2020. Magufuli's vice president Samia Suluhu Hassan became the Tanzanian first president, even up to now. So geographically, we see that at about 947,000 square kilometers, Tanzania is the 13th largest country in Africa and the 31st largest in the world, so ranked between the larger Egypt and smaller Nigeria. So its borders are Kenya, like I said, Uganda to the north, Rwanda, Burundi, Democratic Republic of Congo to the west, Zambia, Malawi, and Mozambique to the south. So Tanzania is located in the east coast of Africa and has an Indian Ocean coastline approximately to, of course, 1,000 kilometers. It also, of course, incorporates several offshore islands, including Unguja, the Zanzibar, Pemba, and Mafia. So the country is the site of Africa's highest and lowest points, like Mountain Kilimanjaro, which is of course which is very tall. So Tanzania's mountainous and densely forested in the northeast, where Mountain Kilimanjaro is located. Three of the Africa's Great Lakes as partly within Tanzania. So to the north and west of lie Lake Victoria, Africa's largest lake, and Lake Tanganyika is the continent's deepest lake, known for its unique species of fish. To the south lies Lake Nyasha, and central Tanzania is the large plateau with plains and arable land. So the east shore is hot and humid, with the Zanzibar offshore. So that is Tanzania. It has a lot of wildlife like since it is actually the biggest East African country. Yogera kunyata Setu Peach Maria, she's really LGB Yaba. Same with the Kagame.
Natural wonderful. Deep Jabba, I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping really. But anyway, I guess Innocent has exploited a lot about Tanzania, but let me see where I can start from. I don't know. Oh, mhm. I guess I will discuss a little bit about slave trade and how it was operated in Tanzania. Now, the slave trade in Tanzania, like in other parts of East Africa, has a complex and multifaceted history that dates back to the pre colonial period and, of course, continued through uh, the colonial era. Of course, um, slavery existed within various ethnic groups in Tanzania, with the people being captured during intertribal warfare raids and sold to Arab and Swahili traders. All right. Now, slaves were primarily used as domestic servants, agricultural laborers, and soldiers in the armies of the local chiefs and rulers at the time. We had now, like when I'm whenever we usually talk about this, the slave and other people using other Africans as slaves, people will still give it a debate that slavery existed in Africa before even even before the slave trade happened. But we see that most of these people who had slaves working as agricultural laborers and of course soldiers for or bodyguard. Let me use the word bodyguard. Maybe security personnel at that time. These were people who were working together with the big traders who had come in Africa at that time because they had a lot to protect. And these other people had big farmlands, all right? Because if you see before with among slave trade, there was also trade for these other African commodities. So it was important for these people who, of course, are selling other Africans to still use these very Africans to their advantage. There is no African who had a slave, actually, because a slave is someone who works without being paid. All right, is someone who works without being paid. A slave is someone who works under his or her will. But if you have agreed willingly to work for somebody, that means you're not a slave. Now, people should differentiate between prisoners, that's one, slaves, that's two, and also workers. All right. I usually come across a lot of debates with our brothers and sisters from, of course, America, more especially the African Americans, saying slavery existed in Africa. You can still read. There is a difference between workers. There is a difference between prisoners, and because even still now we still have people doing community services. When you do probably when you do something wrong, we still have those people who do community servicing even until now to discipline you. All right. So I guess people should differentiate the situation that was back in Africa. There is nowhere people were a certain type of people was a slave. All right. There is nowhere a certain tribe of Africans was supposed to be a slave to another. But of course, people be talking about this like that. And like I explained, people have to get a good difference between the three: a worker, a slave, and of course, let me say, a prisoner, like I said. So we know that when those people used to get the slaves, they used slaves were used to work as domestic servants at that time in places of big people, more especially those ones who involved a lot in the slave trade. And then others were, of course, taken to the Arab countries, and other slaves from East Africa were also taken to the UK, and of course, the other plantations in the United States. So we had Tanzania, particularly the coastal regions of Bagamoyo, Kilwa, and Zanzibar was part of the broader Indian Ocean and Trans-Saharan slave trade routes, connecting East Africa with the Middle East, India, and other parts of the world. Arab and Swahili traders played a significant role in the East African slave trade, transporting slaves from the interior regions of Tanzania to the coastal trading centers and exporting them to markets in the Middle East and beyond. Now, most of the East slave trade really affected most of the East African countries at that time. It affected a lot of the East Africans. Slave trade even reached here in Uganda. It reached even in Kenya. It was in some parts of Congo. The same story comes down to Mozambique and other places down Tanzania. So slave traders could trade and make sure they get slaves, no matter how deep um, they would go, but all they wanted were slaves, because there was a certain time where slaves became extremely expensive. Now, after the era of slave trade with the Arab people, we saw that the German colonial administration officially abolished slavery in Tanzania. That was around 1891, and launched a military campaign to suppress the slave trade and liberate slaves. Now, the German people came to Tanzania and abolished slave trade, not because they felt sorry for the people of Tanzania, but they were not benefiting from this. Uh, when most of when most of the Arab people knew that Africans at the coast, or Africans in East Africa, were strong, they wanted them for labor. They wanted them for labor. They wanted them to, of course, do a lot of things in their homeland. And of course, the German people knew unless they abolish slave trade in, of course, Tanzania, it may to be very hard for, of course, the Arabs to leave. But of course, even when they did abolish, we still see that slave trade still carried on. And until Africans got united in Tanzania and fought about the slave trade situations, Africans rather liberated themselves than what history tells us that the Germans liberated the people of Tanzania. Now, despite the abolition of slavery, we still had a lot that was going on. We had people who were forced to work in mines, plantations, and of course, public works projects. Now, these are the people who are working during the days of the colonialists, and of course, the Arab people, the stay of the Arabs here in Tanzania. When you travel to Arab countries, until to date, there are some Arabs who believe that Zanzibar is their capital city, and this is still the history. All right, so they be and
How did they believe that no more? They might have, but the Africans revolted. The Ugandan They killed all the Arabs back in 1963 to 64. They had a revolt of Africans and finally said enough is enough.
Mm-hmm.
So it's called the I think it's called the um the Zanzibar massacre.
Mm.
They like
Mm-hmm.
that was called a massacre when you kill them for treating you bad. It's a massacre. They can kill African people and treat African people like shit. When African people finally get the nerve to fight back and retaliate, there's no more. There's no more. No more. Now it's a massacre. So
Mm-hmm.
we got an individual from Uganda that came to Zanzibar and organized the Africans on Zanzibar. But you got two islands. Zanzibar consists of two islands. You got the northern island of Pemba and the southern island of Zanzibar. And the Africans, of course, were constantly being treated like shit on their own land from these no good Arabs and these black motherfuckers calling themselves Arabs or mixed Arabs. So Africans took them arms and went to killing all of them. Get your ass off this island. So, so I don't think so. I don't think the Arabs hold no sway in Zanzibar. They came back, but I don't think they. I think they know the Africans can go off at any time and kill their ass and get them out of there.
They still believe so because they studied that in school, that they have a capital city in Zanzibar.
Who the Arabs?
The Oman Arabs.
Yeah, but they don't. They don't. So they don't. I don't care what they touch.
That's why most of them.
Those goofy African schools again with Seto believe. Seto was taught that King Leopold was your friend. Shit.
And by the way, when you go to these Arab countries, more especially the Oman, even until now, they still have that huge interaction with the Africans. Themselves are even divided. In the Oman, there are still those other Arabs who speak fluent, typical Swahili, and they still have roots in Africa. All right, and they're also segregated. And the funniest thing is even their Sultan, the father to the current Sultan, her
Yeah,
mother was an African
African,
descendant, right?
of course.
Because
That's
her
the,
dad was a black man from Tanzania. So
mhm.
and this the man, when he came into power, he was trying when he came into power, he even put a lot of signposts in Oman. That is their capital city is Muscat. He put a lot of signposts in Muscat that would fight against racism. He would show like blacks are your friends, because I think he knew he originates from that side. And but there are also typical people from that very area who don't even know any Swahili word. And even when you look at their skin color, they are so much of white than these others. So
Uh-huh.
they are kind of mixed. There are those ones who have the British whatever. So they're always, and the entire place also has racial discrimination. All right, and so that means the existence of the black people from Tanzania had a huge impact in this particular country. Even no matter they tried over to cast their men to make sure that the black men, when they are taken to Oman, they used to cut their private parts to make
Used
sure
to
that
cut
they
their
don't
pe-
have.
that's right. They would cut their penis. They would castrate them, cut their penis off. They would take settle and say, "Look at here, you nigga. I'm cutting your dick and balls off." You're like, "What?" That's right. I'm I'm cutting I'm cutting your whole penis off and your nut sack. in the name of Allah. Well, if I don't believe in Allah, well, that's too bad, nigga. There go your nutsack and your penis. That's what they do you. They pause. Damn, they put some money behind this housing project. Shit. Let me know if you can hear me, Jimmy Jam. Is it me that went up, or was it, or is it oh, it's them. They didn't change the background yet. They even got the wrong goofy background on it. It was them. They got Irritanzo's show and not their own. So they come back. Oh shit. Oh man. Georgia, Georgia, Georgia. Dickie's barbecue. Oh, like a nice little spot right there. Country barbecue. Yeah, but what happened is, you have in Zanzibar, you had the Arabs who really fostered this slave trade and have never faced any goddamn justice yet. The Arabs are just there. There was the Arabs who taught the Europeans how to enslave people. You know, Europeans were just as bad as the Arab. I don't know if the Arabs might have been worse. Arabs castrated people and wiped out whole populations that they just didn't work them to death. These populations don't even exist no more. But you can find them or not, it's questionable. You know. Close that school down over there. See if I can change this background real quick. Airtime's background for theirs. Sorry about that, guys. I must have hit that by accident. That was a little Cammy show back in the day. I must hit the wrong button by accident. Trying to put on their thumbnail. Set to a Maria's thumbnail. I hit the old Cammy show by accident. Whee. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, shit. Let's see if they're going to come on back or not. I said Thanks, Jibba. Thanks, Jibba. It might be raining in Uganda. It's great. So, So I guess they were talking about the African slave trade again, concerning the Arab guys. So I'll try to keep it going as long as I can. Even though my voice is kind of worn out. They're back. I think they're back. They're back. So it must not be raining in Jibber Jabber like you said in Uganda.
Yeah,
Even
but
unfortunately today, like it doesn't rain normally. It doesn't rain during it rains at night. During the day, sunshine, but when it comes night, it rains. But I don't know whether why like electricity is always unstable.
Oh well, it might be like them dumbass Arabs in Dubai. You guys seem to have it in Dubai, right? They were messing with the weather, but they seeded the clouds in Dubai. If you guys go to YouTube and say flooded in Dubai, you see what these morons has caused millions of dollars in damage by making it rain in Dubai. Dubai is flooded.
what
Have
should
you
I,
guys seen it? Have you guys seen it? Huh?
what should I type in?
Say flooding in Dubai. So about massive flooding in Dubai.
Nothing flooding in Dubai.
Yeah, it's
In
true.
Dubai. Yeah,
Yeah, even the airport.
Right
yeah,
away,
because these morons seeded the sky too much, and these dumbass Arabs, I told you they were using weather manipulation, and they made it rain too much. And so they
oh.
destroyed buildings. They destroyed buildings and all kind of shit. You got people dying. You got cars being flooded. Yeah, all kind of crazy stuff. They did that.
Dubai's severe
That's not
flooding was caused by
that wasn't
excessive use of
nature.
cloud seeding for 7 days
Exactly.
straight. This
They
led to
exceeded the
them receiving
clouds.
1 year's worth of rain in less than 24 hours.
Look
In
at that.
this
One
desert
year
country,
one year
planes couldn't
one year
land or
worth of
take off
rain,
from the
Maria,
airport
in
because the
one
entire
day.
runway was completely
1 year
flooded
worth of
and the
rain in
streets
one
and
day.
drainage
You
systems were
morons.
inundated with water. People were stuck in their Rolls Royces, Teslas, and Bugattis. Chairs and tables were being flung from top floor balconies of high rise buildings. The famous mall in Dubai was gushing water like a tropical waterfall, reminiscent of rivers in Indonesia or the Philippines. The skies were so dark, it was like a repeat of the major solar event from last week, but this is where extreme wealth comes into play. Many took the opportunity to enjoy wild spins in their yachts and on their jet ski. For even more context and contrast, this is what Dubai usually looks like: a city of elegance, glitz, and glamour, where the rich and wealthy come to mingle and enhance their life with like minds. Dubai's severe flooding was caused by excessive use of cloud seeding for 7 days straight. This led to them receiving 1 year's worth of rain in less than 24 hours. In this desert country, planes couldn't land or take off from the airport because the entire runway was completely flooded, and the streets and drainage systems were inundated with water. People were stuck in their Rolls Royces.
That's what happens. That's what happens when you do stupid shit.
They
Yeah. You get a year worth of rain in one day because you wanted to mess around with Mother Nature.
mm-hmm. They used to say, I tell it again, that whenever it would rain in Dubai, they all of them park their cars. They even get out of the cars to fill their showers. But at times their rain rains so heavily because they don't have trees. They don't, they, you know. They don't have trees that will control the wind blowing. You know, so they are lucky that their buildings didn't come down crumbling. I've never seen
They
what
were
made
damaged.
them. Mm-hmm. Kita, I wanted the code, but you didn't send me the code.
I did send you the code. Didn't you see it?
You sent one. Why were you even screaming? Okay.
I sent you the code. You talking about on TikTok or streaming? You on streaming right now? What you talking about?
Yeah, I want to log into another device. Yeah,
Yeah, well, I sent you the code. Guess you ain't look.
yeah, that code
Look at
was
the what?
invalid. It had expired.
Huh? You should have asked me to send you another code.
Yeah, let me do it now. They have sent like other three, so you have to just wait for this particular one.
All right,
I want to log in with the phone.
all right,
All right, they have sent it.
all right. Say, let me go look it up. Give me a second. Oh shit. So close. By playing all the stars, who's jamming in there?
Hmm.
All the stars are close. Who the hell's jamming? All right, let me see what you got. All right, last one you got. Put this number in there. 003
003. Mm-hmm.
046.
046. That one is expired.
Oh, okay. We'll try this. We're gonna try 499
499
857.
857. That one is expired too. I
That's the one
told
that.
you
I'm waiting. Well, that's the one they gave me. Hold on, wait. Let's see. What's that?
there is the current one. You know when you take loan, it expires.
Take. Okay, but those are the ones I got so far. I don't got no new ones yet. 917. Yeah,
Huh?
I got it. Those are the last ones I got. I gotta wait till it comes. Yeah, it hasn't come through yet.
Are you sure?
I'm
Let me
positive.
do it. Let me
I'm
do it
looking at
now.
right. I'm looking at my damn. I'm looking at my email right now.
All
Those are
right.
ones. Those are all ones that came through.
All right. Another one.
We're waiting.
You got it?
Nope. See, let me.
Are you
Let me
sure?
try my other. Hold on. Yeah, hold on. Wait. That phone went out the internet. Hold on. Yeah, I think that phone. It was in the woods. That's right. It, it had no internet. Let me try this other phone. Give me a second. No wonder it didn't have it. That phone had no internet on it. So give me a second. Yeah. That's why. That's why that didn't come through. It had no internet on it. Okay, so here we go. Hopefully, see what the latest one is. Okay, code I
Mm-hmm.
got. What you just sent was nine. What's the
Sorry?
latest one? Hold on, I'm trying to get the latest one. Hold on.
You said what?
Wait, no,
I beg your
wait.
pardon.
Wait, I'm trying to give you the
Mm-hmm.
latest one, Maria. Wait.
Okay. It's
Okay,
going to
so
expire.
try 104
Mm-hmm.
961
961.
961
Now you repeat. One four
104 one
four four
one zero no 104
one
9
zero.
104
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
961.
We're good. Okay, thank you. I'm done. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So now, so when we are explaining about the history, or we are to
Hey,
discuss.
where's the other phone for TikTok? I'm supposed to put you guys back on TikTok.
Yeah, but
Uh,
you didn't. You had promised, but well,
huh?
you say that you're going to reopen the TikTok account for us, but you didn't.
Yeah, well, I was waiting for you. I wait for you guys to get the code. We'll do it when you get we'll do it when you get a chance.
All right. So, like I was telling you guys, you cannot, of course, discuss about the Republic of Tanzania without, of course, talking about the slave trade that happened in Tanzania. Yeah, there are a lot of good things that really did happen, but there is a huge mark that, of course, slave trade in Tanzania left, of course, in that particular country. Now, like I was telling you, when we had the slave trade in Africa, uh, yes, we have the slave trade that actually was carried along, or that was carried out along the West African countries. But the slave trade that was in East Africa, not only Tanzania, was so inhuman, and so barbaric. We had the stories, more especially the Arab people who came to carry out the slave trade at that time, uh, concentrated a lot on harming the black men who were in East Africa at that time, or the black slaves that they had. First of all, the black people who were their slaves at that time posed a huge threat, and they were typically so afraid of these people. First of all, they saw the lifespan of the people at East Africa, and they were so worried. They were like, how come these people are living this long? Because they would see people who are extremely old but still very, very strong. And they knew even if we had to take these people, probably they are going to live for a very long time in our country and reproduce and maybe and claim power. So black people in East Africa were a threat to the traders, and that's why we see most of the young people who were taken were castrated. Their penises were cut off completely, because they didn't want these people to produce or to marry women from their side. But again, we see a lot of men again went ahead and impregnated a lot of women, whether forcefully or willingly. And most of course, they did not only take men to the Arab countries as slaves, but also took women. And it was discovered that most of these women actually uh, became concubines, and they reproduced. And there is a certain time where the population of the East African was bigger than the other population in Oman at that time, which posed a threat. And of course, and then they had to put a fair that if at all any man or if at all any Oman man would marry the other, because like I told you, they are different. For them, they call them races, and so I will call it so. There are those different races. There are those ones who are mixed with the Asians, all right. Oh God, there are those ones who are mixed with the Asians, and then there are those ones who are mixed with the East Africans in this particular country, and then others are with Indians mixed with the Indians. Remember that there is a time where Indians were carrying out mining, gold mining in Oman. So they are Arabs, but they are mixed a lot. And the royal family, their royal family, if you cross check their ancient history, you realize that their royal family was of black people. Okay, so they had to put a price to men who would marry this other race that is not mixed with black people. But even with that, there's the population of those who are mixed with the Africans is still growing rapidly and rapidly each time. And of course, if you go to this particular country, you realize that a biggest percentage of the people there still speak Swahili. And they have stories like, we come from Africa. Even if you are speaking Swahili, yeah, we got this skin color, but they have their own story when it comes to, of course, the coast of Zanzibar. And some of them still come back because they left people behind. So, and the funniest thing, the biggest population is even women. I guess because most of the men were targeted and they were not given a chance uh, to reproduce. So that's a little bit about the situation of slavery. Now, like I said, the history say in history we are told that German, of course, abolished slavery. The Germans did not completely abolish slavery. They did not stop slave trade from being carried out in Tanzania. But they were doing this to cut off the Arabs because they wanted to conquer that place. They didn't want anyone else to have any involvement. But still, you realize there are still a lot of slaves that were taken from Tanzania to German. All right. There are still a lot of slaves that were taken from East Africa to German. So if the German people really did carry out this, then how come that history states they abolished slavery? Now, we studied this in school. They tell us the German people abolished slavery. But again, we also see that the Germans still took East African slaves to German, which, of course, um, does not correspond to the statement that the German people abolished slavery, but rather we saw Africans, and particularly another African from, of course, Uganda, who led a group of other Africans to rebel against slavery and liberated a lot of people, and of course brought um, liberation against the slave trade at the coast of Zanzibar. Now we know that the British continue to enforce a forced labor system, particularly in agriculture. Now this is what I was explaining to you, and infrastructural development projects, and of course they made efforts to suppress remnants of the slave trade and liberate slaves. Now this the British also had a part. Now, Tanzania was big. As people say, Tanzania was a German territory, but also there is a piece of Tanzania where the British also had an involvement because Tanzania was very big,
They
right?
came later. They came later, Marie. They lost. They lost Tanzania. Remember, the Germans lost it in 1917. They lost. They lost East Africa. Well, all of Africa.
They lost Tanzania because they had disputes. If you remember, when we saw the Arab people coming to when we saw the Arabs come to the coast or East Africa itself, the British were existing in Oman. They were colonizing Oman at that time. Now, I know at times maybe this is not documented, but I know the British knew about Tanzania and what was going on. And given the fact that the German people were there at that time, there is a lot of involvement between the Arabs and, of course, in East Africa. And little did the German know that this involvement had a British hand behind. And I think basically the British really wanted to conquer Tanzania, but of course it was so hard for them since they had made the agreements. But they wanted a part of Tanzania. In fact, they wanted a part of the entire East Africa. And so they had to use the Arab people against the German. And this is why. But before that, we remember that they were still fighting about with the borders, and the German people were claiming an extent, and the British people were claiming an extent to part of Tanganyika. All right, and the German were saying this was not the agreement. We did not agree, so they still had. But though the British people had a small territory that was apparently supposed to be, of course, Tanganyika. If you remember the story, when Amin still came into power, he claimed some of these territories. All right.
Yeah,
So he said,
yeah,
we
that's
got,
what got him out of power. He was trying to put back one of the old Ugandan kingdoms. Because understand
mm,
those lands were all split up by the Europeans. So
mhm.
so those borders are not really real. So uh, I mean, knowing the ancient borders, he didn't agree to those borders. So he did something stupid and invaded Tanzania, which he
Uh-huh.
shouldn't have did.
So,
Which he shouldn't have did. So
true.
that's what got his ass out of power because Julius Nyerere, hey man, what you doing? You can't invade these borders. Those are the white man's borders. Yeah, we know that, but those borders are now agreed upon now. That's Uganda now. So we've already agreed. Those borders been existing for now 100 years. You can't invade and say these are the ancient borders of this tribe no more. So
True.
because of course those borders, yeah, we know those borders are not real, but they've already been agreed upon when African countries were getting free. So you agreed to those borders, so you can't invade from, yeah, this used to be our land before the white man showed up. That don't work no more. Those have been the borders now for 100 years now. So you can't say, I'm taking back the old borders before the white man showed up.
And the issue was that the British had documented those borders. You see, these people were, even if they had agreed on dividing Africa, but themselves were still fighting. They were still fighting about. They were so greedy that they were still
Yeah.
fighting about this. So there is a certain territory the British had documented, and I guess this is what Amin was coming for. So there is a
Okay.
certain, yeah. So the British had documented a certain part that enters to, of course, Tanzania, Tanganyika, or Tanzania at that
Yeah.
time. And so the British really greedily wanted, and I know they played a very big role on making the German fail to control Tanzania.
Remember, yeah, because remember, you got to understand, Maria, they had a world war. They all went to war in World War I. And so when the Germans lost, you had the British, the French, and all them fighting the Russians. So they were all
Mm,
fighting World War I. So when the Germans lost World War I, they
mm,
lost all their holdings. Their holdings were taken, the African holdings, Namibia, uh, Tanzania, and whatever little other holdings they had in Africa were taken away. So that was the reason for World War II. That
mm.
Germany was mad that they had their African holdings taken away. And Hitler said, okay, since we don't got the resources of Africa, I'm going to take all of Europe. Fuck it. So that's when you had World War II with Germany. He said, you took away all my African, you took away all of our African territory. And now I have no resources. Well, fuck it. I'm gonna invade all of Europe and take all of Europe over. So that's what
Mm,
both wars were actually about Africa. That's the funny part about you, right? Because World War II was that the Germans had lost all their damn holdings in Africa back in 1917, and they were pissed
yeah.
off. They were mad. So Hitler came and said, "Okay, since you stolen all our damn African territory, I'm just gonna steal all of Europe." That's why he went and started invading all of Europe, invaded France, invaded Poland, invaded Denmark, he's
Mm,
invading every place. It was all because they lost their African colonies.
mm, true.
Check this out. Check this up, Joe. I mean, not Joe, Maria.
Mm,
Check this up. Say one of the reasons for World War II was the German loss of its African colonies.
sorry?
Type this
One
up
of
in
the
Google.
reasons.
Say one of the reasons for World War II was the German loss of its African colonies. They were mad as shit. That damn it, we want to control some of these niggas still. Uh, I'm gonna rob and steal from their stupid asses some more.
Oh,
That's why I gotta understand. Africa made the Europeans wealthy. That's why that King Leopold letter, he said, his words, not mine. He said, give the dumb nigga the Bible and tell him the worst for things in heaven, so you'll get your gold and everything in heaven, and don't tell him other stuff that's the wealth that's under his own feet. Tell me which way is treasure in heaven. But he said the dumb nigga. You go down there, teach the dumb nigga to love, to, you know, get his damn treasure in heaven, and not understanding the treasure under his feet.
they are not giving me exactly what
All right,
you.
well, don't worry about it. Yeah, that was that was the reason why they were upset
Yeah.
about losing. After World War I, Germany lost all its African colonies. But a lot of Germans, like Maurice, a lot of Germans didn't leave. It just went to British hands or French hands. Like, even though we talking about English speaking Cameroon, that was actually
Mm,
German speaking Cameroon. When the Germans lost that part of Cameroon, it became
mm.
The English got all the Germans' territory.
Oh yeah, I see.
Yeah, the British got the British got all the German territories after World War I. So it didn't used to
Mm,
be a Anglophone Cameroon, it was actually German. But they lost
mm,
all their territory after World War I. And
mm,
it went into the hands of the British.
mm.
That's why Namibia became Britain, Tanzania became Britain, parts of
I see.
Cameroon became Britain. That's what happened.
Now, why did they have an agreement that or why?
No, they
Because
lost the war. They lost. They had a war, Maria. About okay. World War I started. Was that okay? World War I started was that the Germans were mad
mm,
that they didn't know what they had in Tanzania, how rich Tanzania was yet. Germans were mad saying that the French and the British got the best lands in Africa, right?
mm,
After they scrambled and stole Africa, the argument was that the Germans said, "Hey, we ain't got no good lands. We got this desert country called Namibia and this fucked up country, Tanganyika. We need some more goddamn land. You got you French and British going to give us some of this fucking land.
Mm.
So, of course, white people being white people, the British said, "No, we ain't giving you shit." The French said, "We're not giving you shit either. We're not giving you shit. That's the land you're stuck with." At that time, the Germans didn't know how rich Tanzania even was, and that parts of the Cameroon, Cameroon, parts of the Cameroon, some other shit. But when they lost, but they were the war wasn't when they were mad because they said they didn't get enough of the of the resources in Africa. And so that was the argument. They said we don't got enough niggas to control because we need these dumbass niggas to do our plantation work. As you said, forced labor. And so that started World War One, and they lost. So not only did they not get any more African holdings, they lost the African holdings that they had. They went to war because they were mad. They're like, "Hey man, you motherfuckers got all of Africa. We ain't got enough. We ain't got enough of these dumb niggas to rule." And so they went to war. And so when they lost the war, they lost all of Africa. They lost all their holdings. See, put it up then, Maria, put this up. Say, say in 1918, Germany, in 1918, Germany loses all its African colonies. 1918, Germany loses all its African colonies. In 1918, Germany loses all its African colonies. See anything? Now remember, the Europeans are getting wealthy as hell off the back of Africa. Germany's like, "Hey, guys, we need more African land and more niggas to exploit." So when they lost the war, they lost all the people that they put here. They didn't leave, but the German government lost all their holdings. The Germans that are still here in Africa, they just went under British rule because the British got all their holdings. That's how Tanzania went from German hands to British hands. You find anything said though? That in 1918, Germany lose all its African colonies. Let me know when you guys found something. hear you. Yeah, it's got no sound. No sound. What happened to you guys' sound?
All right, we
That, oh, there it goes.
in, in 1918, Germany lost all its African territories due to the
Exactly.
outcome of World War One.
Exactly.
Mhm.
That's how they lost because I told you they were upset when they were scrambling for Africa. They said they didn't get enough land. They didn't know yet how rich Tanzania was, how rich. They was mad. They got how the fuck we don't got enough. We don't got enough. They said we don't got enough of these dumb niggas to rule. We don't got enough
Mm,
land. There's not enough gold and diamonds. The British had all the gold and diamonds. Said we don't got enough of these stupid niggas. Need to get rid of them. We don't got enough. We got stiff. And so the Germans said, hey, we need to divvy up the land better. We didn't get enough land. And of course, France and Britain said, go to hell. We're not giving you shit, right? So we're not giving you nothing. Right?
mm,
So that caused World War One. And after World War One, they lost the war against France and Britain, and now they got nothing. So after World War One, they lost all their African colonies. France and Britain
mm,
said we're taking. France and Britain said we're taking all that shit, all of it. And so that's when Tanzania becomes British. That's when German Cameroon becomes British.
mhm.
But the people that settled, a lot of the British didn't leave. A lot of the Germans didn't leave. Nobody got so many German motherfuckers in Namibia right now. They never left.
Yeah.
And they own the majority of the land. The Germans still own the majority of the land in Namibia. They own 80% of the land that they stole.
Mhm.
Of course, the African being docile, he never took it back. He never took his land back. And so you go to Namibia, see the Germans living all good, nice homes, and Africans all poor and fucked up, like always. Guys.
All right. So, of course, this,
So
of course, uh, uh,
so that was the argument, Maria. Africa. The Germans said we didn't get enough land and we didn't get enough niggas to control.
mhm. Until now, they are still fighting for Africa. They
Yep.
have, oh, they still have a cold, silent war going on within them, and yeah.
Yeah, yeah, they still control it. It's wealthy. I'm not letting it go.
Hmm.
Germans don't got control. It's wealthy. Think I'm gonna let Africa go to you dumb niggas? No. It's wealthy. You don't know it's wealthy. You'll fight your tribal beat. I'm a different tribe. Yeah, good luck with that. Why I steal everything. I steal all the wealth out the continent.
Mm.
What what am Zungu yet? So I got an eating. Got this biscuit in my mouth, sorry. What am Zungu, Maria? Have you ever met that wanted to leave Africa? None. None.
True,
None.
true, 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 true.
Or even the Indian. Indian too. Was
Hmm.
Indian. ever wanted to leave Africa. None. They're making statues of Gandhi out there in Uganda. This old racist bastard.
Yeah, it's funny with that statue, and it was made out of bronze.
A damn racist. Somebody who hated African people. Hated our ass. And you got dumbass for 70. I brought the Indian people back. You were so smart. I brought them back because our niggas are too stupid to do work. I brought you Indians back. You fucking moronic ass. I can't wait till they get rid of his ass. You moronic, licking ass nigga. I brought you back. I brought you back because Idi Amin took you out. I brought you back because I'm a bootlicker. I brought you back, you Indian people. We need you because our people are too stupid to do work. I brought you back. You you bootlicking ass cowardly nigga. God damn. Shut up. People that treat your people like shit, you over there praising them. I brought you back to treat our African people like shit again. I brought you back. It is good I brought you back to treat African people like shit. You know why I brought you back? Because I'm a European puppet. And I'm a whole moron. Crazy.
True.
But they're not gonna let your son be the president there, you moron. That's Bobby Wine's job. They got their puppet already ready. It ain't your dumbass son. Most of the people that don't know Bobby Wine's a puppet, it's gonna work perfect. It was yeah, Bobby Wine, yeah. And as slow as the Africans are, they ain't gonna know till 10 years. They're like, God damn, this Bobby Wine shit. It's just as fucked up as Museveni. This Bobby Wine is just as fucked up as Museveni. Yeah, stupid. Yeah. It's supposed to be. We gotta get Bobby Wine ass out of here. 10 years ain't shit changed. That's right. That's right. Museveni stupid. He ain't even Ugandan. That nigga was born in Rwanda. He ain't even Ugandan. How does a Rwandan become president of Uganda? How does that happen? Make it make sense.
I don't really like concentrate on that part a lot. Whether he's around this or what, he should rule us right. That's what matters, because at the end of the day, we are all one. So you may
That's
find
true. That's
the
true. I'm just saying. That's true, Maria. I get it. You're right. I
the
I
most
just got
important
to I still got to ask the question, damn it.
the most important thing is being a good leader, because at the end of the day,
All right.
uh,
We want people. You're right. I agree. You're right. You're right.
so anyway,
Oh, you can read the comments, guys. I can't read them on my phone.
I guess Innocent will read the comments.
So, Lando said, "Hey family, Danny Harrison, thank you for coming through." Said, Germany lost its African colonies in World War One. Yeah, it's the same thing we have been talking about, Danny. Yeah, that's true. However, the Germans were outnumbered in World War One. They still put a good resistance to British and French in World War One. Uh, uh, I don't know whether this is true, but I know it's true. You can help me. I don't know much about
Over
these.
one.
Yeah, the World War One in particular.
Yeah, they were
Yeah,
outnumbered. Yeah, they were outnumbered. Really, they won it. Well, you know, they outnumbered the Germans actually won that ship. It's just the French, the French and the British they want a super peace, and so they strung it out. And so they use attrition to finally get the Germans to capitulate. But as all tactical wars go, the Germans really won World War One. They had better equipment, better everything. But they um they couldn't hold out as long as the French and the British could. Remember,
Um,
you guys know it.
Danny also commented that, do you really want to be under the Germans? They committed
Genocide.
horrendous, atrocious acts in Namibia. They damn near genocided the whole black population in Namibia.
Yeah.
Yes,
Also in
I
Tanzania, they were genociding them in Tanzania too.
yeah, I remember we discussed about the German in Namibia and the Herero people and the whole.
Yeah,
It is
that's
a
them.
painful story. But yeah, for sure. I don't think we want any Muzungu to colonize us, whether they are We don't care
That's right.
whether you're a
That's
German or
right. That's right. German, British, all French.
British.
They're all fucked up to African people. Is that right, Maria?
So we don't care who the Muzungu is. We just don't want the Muzungu here anymore. So uh, so that's for Danny. And of course, like the story of when we study in schools, when you're in the lower classes, and I think this one has actually affected the mentality of a lot of young African children. You know, when you're young, your mind is so
It's fun.
ignorant. And
Yeah.
when you're young, there are two people who are always right: your teacher and your
And your
parents.
mother. And your mother.
Yeah. Yeah, those people, your teacher can never be wrong, and your parents at home can never be wrong. Now, African children being raised in this country, you don't question what your parents say. It's definitely right, definitely right. You don't question
Wow.
your teacher because your teacher is smart, definitely smart.
Oh.
When
That's
you
what I
see
told
that,
Joby. That's got to change. As a child, you're supposed to question everything. Everything.
yeah,
That's how the African side is. You question everything. Your parents, your teachers, you question everything. Go ahead, Maria.
so I think you people have come across a lot of videos, more especially when it comes to young children of Uganda running, chasing cars which have bazungus in it, seeing bazungus ride on the streets, and every young child is coming to greet.
Yeah,
Those videos circulated a lot that it makes bazungu, I
feel
think, feel
good.
like you got them a lot. But this whole thing comes about with the education system. If at all we are to look into education, really, even the slavery story, they will not tell you the bitter truth that is
No,
behind slavery. They will not tell you the bitter truth that is behind the slave trade that was actually carried out along the East African coast or the entire East Africa as a region.
no,
And
because
they will tell you,
then you won't love you won't worship him as your God like Sento Mama. I don't want them Zungu, but as long as it's Jesus, yeah.
they tell us about the Muzungu trying to build the schools. They did not tell us the reason why they wanted their schools. We are seeing the same story happen in, of course, Burkina Faso as of now. There is a lot of Russian education now. Burkina Faso is trying to embrace Russian language. It's
Wow,
trying
I didn't know that. That's dangerous. What?
uh, Yeah, they want to teach Russian language in
Jesus
school.
Christ. It's like the African never learns. You always got to, one European is like another European, is another European. Yeah, like Maria said. It
Exactly.
doesn't make any
Exactly.
sense. Are they teaching the Bikini Faso language in Russia? Hell no.
Hmm. And now, when we are in schools, they say that the white people built um, schools, they introduced education, and
Wow.
what they wanted was to teach us their language so that they can colonize us. They wanted to
Mhm.
make everything easy for them. And if you look at the roads, even the roads they built were roads that were only favoring or facilitating their
Yeah.
movement.
The movement and
Uh,
the movement of getting shit
yes,
out the country.
yes. They did not build this because they loved Africans. They did not
Nope.
build this because they wanted something better. They did this for their own benefit. Okay?
Exactly.
And they never teach us this in school. So when they introduced their education, basically there was not a lot that they were teaching in schools. The first thing was making sure that you learn the English language. We are seeing the Chinese also doing the same. Chinese
Sure.
are giving free scholarships to young Africans, young Ugandans, at least that I know for sure, who can speak Chinese. Now,
That's how
everyone
that, that's
is going to
colonization, Maria. That's how they dominate you.
everyone
You
in
bring
school
them the
trying to
language.
show that
Hmm.
they study Chinese because there are higher chances of them getting jobs within the Chinese companies and also having scholarships. All right, because now this is their basic requirement. And we see still the British people use the same, the French people use the same, and
So,
that's why we have
exactly.
and all these people use your language to conquer, because as you teach someone your language you are teaching them your culture. Someone cannot just
Exactly.
language. They're going to learn about everything that is, that everything about you. They're going to learn your culture. They're going to start practicing it. So this is how these people manage to actually to conquer us, and we still use their language. Even when we are insulting them, we insult them in their language, which is very stupid. Yeah, what can we do? Um, say they introduced schools. They built schools. There is no British, there is no colonizer, not a British, not a French, not the Germans, not the Portuguese. None of them built a school in Africa with their funds. The schools
Nope.
they built were from the African funds.
African
All right.
fun. That's right.
There is no iron sheet, there is no brick, there is no timber that came from Germany, France, wherever to come to
Oh
school
shit.
here. All
No
these schools
shit.
used, all the materials were from Africa. The labor was from Africa.
Huh?
Everything except they tried to introduce their construction styles. All right. You see that the building that they decide, okay, if you're going to build this building, it should be in the German style. If it's going to be that,
Yeah.
it should be whatever. That's the only thing. But the first time, even you do see that schools were under grass thatched houses. If you look at the photos of the first schools, they were under grass thatched houses. People were sitting under grass thatched houses, being washed by the rain and stuff like that. Until they decided that Africans they should construct those permanent buildings. But even so, there is no one who constructed a school for us. There is no one who constructed a hospital for the Africans. But
Of
if you
course
are
not.
to school,
But in your,
they
but
will
like you
tell
said, in your education, it said, oh, the European, what they, exactly right, Maria. It's all based on
you.
lies. But why haven't the African governments changed the curriculum, changed the educational system? That's the
Mhm.
question.
True.
It's not just Uganda. That's Uganda, Kenya, Ghana, Nigeria, Namibia, Angola, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Tanzania, Central African Republic, Congo, Botswana, all of them.
If we could only change that curriculum, If we could only
Yeah.
change that, I feel like as we learn our languages in school, we're going to learn about the true history. All right, you cannot just
Exactly.
come
Check
and
this out,
start.
Maria. Check this out. Ghana, the public school system in Ghana tried to do that. I think it was last year. Joby did the story. They said we're going to change the curriculum, go back and teach African truth and African history. And
Mm.
somebody said somewhere, I'm sure it was the British, said, "Nigga, you bet not." And next thing you know, they said, "Okay, we can't do that."
Yeah, you can't. You know why we can't do that? Because they control the entire system. We even
I
our
know,
higher
Maria.
graded by the British. All right.
Yeah.
So they even decide to say you're not going to do political science, you're not going to study politics, you're not going to study, and if there is any institute that does study that, they will never grade. All right. They don't
Wow.
grade graduates from that institute. So you
Wow.
know
Yeah, so
what they
yeah,
have.
you're right. So to the exact, Maria tell you, your enemy is not going to teach you to overthrow them, family. You're going to have to take it.
And really, true, true. So they decide what you're going to study, and of course, if at all, I think we study most of the things we do here, and basically you don't even study. Let me say, if at all there is a course unit like let me say
And then,
I
and let me ask Maria. Hold on, let me ask Maria this. This is every African country. Tell me, Maria, in
yes,
Uganda, do you guys have to take Christianity study too in school?
yeah.
See, see that? Every African school, every African country, because that's the manipulation of the
You
mind.
just, you just to take either Islamic or Christianity.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I was gonna say Islam too.
right.
I was gonna say Islam too. Every African nation, family, you gotta take that indoctrination bush. You can't learn real shit. Maria just said. You see, because those are the British or Christian. Why don't they? Why they say we're gonna take the Islam out? Because a religious mind is a controlled mind. I don't give a fuck what you worship in Islam, Christian. Makes no difference to me if I rule you, because you're a controlled mind. You're a controlled entity. I gotta tell you, hey man, don't do that because Allah said no. Oh shit! Allah said no to that. That's right. You do what I tell you to do. Allah said no.
We do take Christian religious education, yeah, and Islam religious
And then the
education.
funny,
I
it's
all right.
illegal. The people that brought them that I told Joe that it's illegal in Europe and America to teach that shit in the school system. It's illegal.
Oh,
In
yeah,
in Africa, it's mandatory. In the
yeah.
West, it's illegal.
You have to choose from that too. You either do
Yeah,
Christian or Islam, but you have to study.
that's
You have
illegal. That's
to
illegal in the West, Maria. Because you can't be studying fairy tales in school. It's illegal. In America, it's illegal. In Europe, it's illegal.
well, here
Now,
it's not.
now, if you want, of course, that the Europeans put it there. Because in America, if you want to study that shit, you take that shit back home and you study that shit in your own house. You can't study that goofy shit in school.
Yeah, so they can keep you going.
Yeah, put us out. Put us out, Maria. Say is put us up in group. Say is religious study illegal in American public schools? Yeah, it's illegal. Africa, they make it. Why do you think it's illegal here? I need Seto to teach Seto's mama to teach Seto when he gets up. Baby, did you learn your Bible? Did you read it? Did you read about the White Mzungu doing miracles and shit, walking on water, making bread out of fish and all kind of goofy shit?
Hmm.
Says, says religious studies illegal in public school in America.
Yeah,
Yes.
the court has sharp distinction between officially sponsored
Yeah,
religious
it's illegal.
the
You
most
take your ass,
enduring and
you take your ass
religious
to,
schools.
you take your ass to church if you want to hear that goofy shit. Or go home. Go home and set your mama. Let her teach you that shit. You ain't teaching that shit in no school. They got time to teach no fairy tales and goofy Islamic and Christian shit in school. Get out of here. This is a school. You want to believe what you want to believe? Go home and believe it. School, it's illegal. As I went to school, they said, "Hey, Keith, open your Bible." I'd be like, "What? Open my who? Open my Bible? What? What the fuck is?"
Because at times you go with Bibles, you'll be reading verse to verse, chapter to another.
And normally when they are teaching, like you have to be with the Bible. They teach you sin. They teach you consequences of sin.
Forgiveness.
What's it?
Never
Yeah, so
allow
you're learning
causes
mind
sin.
control. You're learning mind.
Um,
Like you said, forgiveness. You're learning mind control, Santo. What sin have you committed, Santo? Being born. Remember, they tell you you're born in sin. What has a baby done, Santo, to be in sin? Not
this
a damn
baby,
thing.
you have to join their cult so that you can be forgiven.
what what have you done, Santo, as a baby? Who'd you hurt? Nobody. Born in sin. Are you
I've seen your ancestors.
Hereditary sin.
shit? So
Religion first is so scary. It's so scary. It keeps your mind from thinking broad. There is a way to confine you that
yeah.
you even feel to
You're
question a
going
lot
to
of.
you're going to hell. You're gonna burn. See,
Mm.
wherever you use common sense, you say, okay, I'm a burn. Okay, I'm a burn. I would ask
Mm.
this question. Okay, if I'm gonna
Mhm.
burn in a lake of fire and all this other goofy shit you're telling me, I'm non-human, right? When I die, I'm a spirit, right? I'm non-physical. How do you burn a non-physical being, Maria? If I'm a spirit now, I'm not in a human form. I don't have a body. I'm a spirit because
Mm.
I'm dead. How do
True.
you burn? How do you burn a ghost? I'm supposed to burn up and I'm a ghost. I'm supposed to be like, I'm in fire.
They
And,
can't
and,
go to really
and
fire.
tell me, and how you gonna be screaming forever? You gonna scream for eternity? You know how stupid that sounds? I said to help me! Burn it up! You gonna scream like that forever? You out of your fucking mind? You got the mind of a child. Burning!
No.
Oh,
They say a burning
whole
a
story.
holy fire.
I'm burning over. Mary Maria, help me! So that's why history is so important. Most
Mm.
Africans don't understand. First Mexican you know, been teaching that. There's no yet. You have a king in Europe say, hey man, this shit, how are we gonna keep people in check? They need to be scared of what we're teaching them. They say, you're right, you're
Mm.
right. Let's make something up like when they die, they go to some place to burn and shit or something. Let's do that. They made that after they made your goofy religion. In the beginning, there was no hell. Everybody go they tell that your goofy Bible and your goofy Islam comes from the Hebrews. Because remember, it's the three Abrahamic religions. The Jews don't believe in no hell because there was no hell when they created the shit. They created the hell afterwards. That's why you can ask the Jews today, hey, you guys believe in hell? No, we ain't got no hell. Because there was no hell, morons, when they made that fake shit up. And then they figured, hey, man, we can't control people if we don't at least scare them with something. Now you got some made up shit, somebody burning in hell. Ah! Seto, help me, I'm in hell forever. Ah! Because I was born in sin, Seto. Ah! Burning. Help me, Seto. Ah! The fire is so hot. Ah! I'm burning, Seto. Please. What kind of fucked up God is gonna let you burn forever? Because I made some mistakes in life. This fucked up God in the Bible gonna let me burn forever. Just screaming, the fire, the sulfur smell. It's gonna smell like sulfur down there. They said, Santa, help me! Santa! I'm burning! I'm burning! The whole thing is so childish. It's like the whole thing is so childish. That's the short African mind is a child. shit so shit is so ridiculously stupid. But then they tell you that the God is love. This God loves you. In the Bible. He's gonna let you burn in hell forever, but he loves you. Ah, help me, yeah. Help me, Lord, I'm burning. Don't you love me? now, now this fucked up guy in the Bible supposed to be the father of everybody. Now, you got children, Santa? Now, ask me. Let me ask you. Would you allow your children to burn in fire forever, Santa? Would you allow your children to burn in fire forever if they did something wrong?
Worrying about hellfire. What's that about
No,
hellfire?
I said to, I'm asking
because
you, Santa, would you let the children burn forever?
One day, I know about hellfire.
no, I can't. I can't be that far.
And can I not go there without
And like when I was in high school, I don't remember the verses because I'm not a Bible person. I don't even know much of the verses. However much I was actually
Good,
in a missionary school,
good
but
for you. Good for you. You escaped. Good for
yeah.
you.
But I remember, like I read certain. I was reading the Bible. I don't remember the verses, but they were saying that like the hell is on earth when that time for judgment. When the time for judgment come, fire will come from up, raining like they even continue to say that the lakes and oceans will they will become fire with magma. So I was like, here is earth like. Maybe like when someone dies, has to go through that process, then goes to hell. Yet hell is earth.
bo bajja zuukira baali bajoininga effe abalala.
So
Maybe they'll be talking about that.
so it's always confusing. And I once met a woman who wanted to change me to born again. I met this born again woman. I was still in the village. I remember those days. I'd just made 20 like, during those days. Then the woman, I want you to convert what and what stuff. But when I looked at the woman, maybe she had a problem.
I think
And
maybe when they take you to their church, there is a bonus they get.
I told her like, right about now I'm 20. You think like you want to change me in few minutes? I'm 20. I've been like half where I belong. Right about now, you want to change me within 2 minutes. And these people they're always walking.
Wanita.
Once you declare that you have, I question the woman
And
a lot of.
you saw recent, I was uh, recently we have a big population of these born agains on the streets with those what does that system with a speaker with a speaker and a microphone. They be standing on the streets from morning until evening.
Let alone standing on streets. Like that system is in towns. In villages, they move door per door, converting people. Once you declare that you're now
Bw'ogenda
a born
bw'oli mu
again,
Catholic
that
omukola
that you're
kakukuba
born again in their church, they write you down with your phone number so that
they
they can
call
call
you,
you.
sir.
Call you for that money. Santo, it's time. Have you got your tithing, your money, nigga? I don't got it yet. Okay, Santo, you know what's coming to you. What? Ah, burning! Ah, burning! I'm burning! The fire! The fire! Ah, I'm burning! Ah!
By the way, most of the churches in Uganda now they are linking. They have been linked out. They are relating them to like to popcorn things. All the churches they have been exposed.
They've always been doing the popcorn. You just didn't know it. Santo. You just didn't know. The popcorn is their culture, nigga. Popcorn. You just didn't know.
Mm.
You thought you thought popcorn was just a tasty snack. You didn't know it also had sodomy, somebody going in your butthole. You thought it was just a tasty snack. Oh no. Oh no.
There is this
More than
there is this
more than that. Good,
there is this
Maria.
church I know that was owned by a Muzungu man, the Watoto Church. That guy has a lot of branches, and one is here. I think the main branch, Eriwano, and another. That man is a Muzungu. Whenever, I don't know now if they have changed, but whenever you go to the church, it will be dark. They put those dim lights, and young children will be molested by grown-ass men inside there
Of
because
course.
you wouldn't be able to see the other. And the only light, it's like a theater. The lights would only be on the pulpit. All right, let me call it a stage. But these other
No,
places it will be dark. That's where the lights are, and a lot of bullshit be going on
yeah, a lot of bullshit,
yeah,
literally. Yeah.
yes.
They said
I remember in
they were just like Sento. You want some popcorn, little boy? Oh, what's popcorn?
So it is like a theater. When you enter that church, it's like a theater. And it is about, I think that Muslim man is now very old. And there was a certain time where he was actually, he was reported, it appeared all over the news. Maybe he sold it to some other person, but it appeared all over the news with some other big pastors. And they say, why does the church look like a theater? Why is it that where the congregation sits, it's always dark, all right? And the
Because,
lights are only on the stage. And you find a lot of
because,
young, and actually this guy promoted a lot of young talents when it comes to music. So
Of
he was
course.
promoting a lot. And so every young Ugandan who wanted to sing felt that they ought to, they needed to go to that church because there was a lot of promotion. Okay, he
Here you go.
was promoting. Everyone wanted to enter the church just because they wanted to sing, they wanted to
Come
be
sing
prominent.
and
They
let me
are being
give me. That's right. Come sing and give me your butt cheeks.
seriously, and you know when you add all, they don't really make sense. Because if at all these stories were true, I don't think these people will even bring this to Africa. If at all this,
I,
if at all
and I,
world,
and I gonna, and I gonna tell you, I want your butt cheeks. For real? They gonna hide that. That's their culture. Africans don't know about that. Like Seto, he didn't know that the popcorn he was getting also came with him giving up some butt cheeks. Like, oh, I don't want no popcorn then. That's their culture. Nobody guys believe they got pushing all this homo and this other shit around. Go ahead, Seto. You about to say something? I cut you off.
I remember in 2018 there is a certain church they exposed here in Kampala where the sheep where the clients were like you would leave all the clothes at the doorway, then you enter the church
and
for
it
prayer.
started from the Bazungu. There is a that church where people attend until now when they are naked.
You leave all the
What,
clothes.
naked? Naked?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
What?
yeah. You leave the clothes at the doorway,
So
at
if it
the
is if
entrance
if,
of the
if a
church.
dad comes with the entire family, definitely your papa, your mom, you, all your siblings are gonna be naked. You're gonna
What kind of church is this, man?
let me first Google this naked whatever.
Oh my God. Everybody got their titties,
Like
their coochie,
they're
their
going back in
penis
the
out.
days of Adam and Eve.
Oh man. I had to hurt I had to hurt you Ugandans feelings yesterday, guys. The new Ugandan girl had to hurt her feelings to tell the truth. She didn't know. See, most Christians like baby Seto and her mama, they believe Eve. Eve, they would say Adam and Eve. Eve was not Adam's first wife. His first wife was Lilith. I want you guys to look it up. Say was Lilith, Adam's first wife. That was his first wife. Most people say Adam and Eve, Adam and Eve. Eve wasn't his first wife. Lilith was. Most Africans don't even know that. They keep talking about this Adam and Eve shit, like Maria just said. It was Adam and Lilith. His first wife was Lilith. And she left him. She said he was too stupid. He said he was a moron.
That's it.
Look this up, Maria. Say who was Adam? Look and say who was Adam's first wife? Lilith. Lilith.
All right.
That's why Eve got him. Because Lilith said he was too stupid. And the Bible, they said this Adam, this motherfucker's a moron. I'm gone.
Who was Adam's first wife, Lilith?
Right, Lilith. The Africans don't even know that. Adam and Eve, Adam and Eve, Adam and Eve, Adam and Eve, Adam and Eve. Hey, moron. Adam's first wife is Lilith, not Eve. Who's that? No, no, what? The pastor didn't tell me that. Of course they didn't. They told you this some more dumb shit. You find it, Maria?
Mm-hmm.
Of course. Now Seth
Okay.
goes. Now if Seth goes home and tell Mama Eve wasn't even Adam's first wife, boy, you better get your ass out this house. Her name was Lilith. Lilith was
Mm.
his first wife. Seth,
Lilith is
Seth,
a female figure
Seth,
in Mesopotamian and Jewish mythology. She's theorized to be the first wife of Adam and
right.
the Yo she demon. That's what they are
Huh?
telling us.
Well, even, oh,
Yeah, that's what I thought. We are ready here.
she
Oh,
left.
maybe
She left.
maybe
She
that's
left.
why the people doesn't talk about her. Because they say she was a she demon.
No. Well, I guess they try to say she's a sea demon because supposedly in the regular, and in the original text before King James changed it and wrote her out, she left Adam because he said he was too stupid. Said he was a moron.
Mm.
And so that's what. So that's how he ended up in Eve. So in your book it say, oh, Adam, he's a woman. How you need a woman? He already had a goddamn woman named Edith, Lilith. Come on. And God seemed fit to give him a woman called Eve. See, that's all made up shit. He had a woman. Her name was Lilith. He needed to get Eve because Lilith left his ass. Ah, man. This motherfucking Adam, boy. This bitch is stupid. I'm gone. Now imagine a woman supposedly leaving. It's only supposed to be in the beginning. It's only supposed to be him and Lilith, right? Because she's the first woman, not Eve. I mean, it's all a lie, but you imagine how fucked up and stupid Adam must have been for a woman to leave the only man? He must have been really fucked up. One of the other men she could go to, Maria, that was it. It was just Adam. Like, ah, man, ain't no other men, but you really fucked up. I'm gone.
Yeah, what images? Yeah, zoom.
now, now you can ask your mother when you get home, Seth, whenever you go back to the house, I mean, back to the village. You know, Adam had another wife. I don't know what you're talking about. What's that Maria been teaching you, boy, in Kampala?
I'm trying to look there. The images of people who are naked in church. On my phone is
Yeah.
bringing it.
Okay.
Right. I want to share. The person who was reading the Bible was naked. Yeah, the
See how crazy people make it? Made up shit makes people crazy. There never was any Adam, there never was any Eve, and now you got people sitting in church naked, talking about I'm going back to Adam and Eve. Crazy talk. Lunacy.
no.
Shout out to all 300 people in here on Twitter. All 300 of you smash that like button and follow the page. There's 300 of you people just learned about Lilith. I know you people on Twitter, you didn't know nothing about Lilith. So follow the page just for getting that knowledge. What happened? It's taking too long to load the butt naked people?
my phone is bringing it at times. The software we use at times doesn't bring like all right.
I want to say no.
We
I
are
don't want to
trying.
see nobody but naked.
I have to see how crazy it was.
You
It
know how
is
awkward that is?
just
You walking around with women, you walking around sitting in the church with women with their titties and their coochie out. Hey man, hey, cover that up, man. What you doing?
even the priest who is leading. And this time, the first church was sighted in the US.
Damn. Imagine all the weird smells. You going to church, you smelling dick and balls and coochie everywhere. Like, oh man, the hell is going on up in here? They walking around with their ball sacks out. Hey man, what you doing? I'm going to church. Why you got your dick and balls out like that? What you doing?
Number no the church. Now they are going back to the days where there were no clothes. I wonder if they move like that on the streets. It doesn't make sense if you say you're going back
It's
to
always
days
been,
and when you're out in the
it's always
clothes or
been
what.
clothes. Men and women always covered their private parts up. Some biblical, some biblical nonsense. How you gonna walk around
So
butt naked? You got all kind of bugs and bees and animals biting you on your dick or biting you on your coochie. How you gonna do that? Get out of it. Nobody walk around naked. Shit out all kind of whatever wasp or fly can bite you on your dick head. Swear up your penis. Nobody walking around naked. It's all made up. You always covered up just because the insects out there. What if you had a cricket jump on your ball sack? What do you do before you eat it? Before you eat the
mm,
cricket is all on your ball sack. What you supposed to do? There's a cricket on my ball sack, Seto. There's a cricket. There's a cricket on my ball sack. Now there's a cricket on my ball sack. I'm going to hell. Ah, I'm going to
inside your and go go.
hell. Is it my fault? Is it a sin? Is it a sin, Seto? If a cricket jumps on my ball sack, is that a sin? I need to know. is, that,
Hmm.
is that a sin?
This is a
Seto,
very
if a cricket jumps, if a cricket jumps on my ball sack, is that a sin?
Mhm.
Oh man. Oh, you guys took
Anyway,
it down.
uh, it's
That's all right.
the
I don't
pictures
want.
are
I don't want to see no. I don't want to see no butt naked people anyway. I'm good.
not bad, so don't worry. But actually, there have been churches where people are naked. We have seen African churches where pastors are bathing people in the church when they are naked. All right.
Damn.
We've seen whites who are pastoring or who are leading a mass when they are naked. So we have
Yeah.
seen all these crazy things. Mama, Africa chongo shared.
Uh,
Wajagamba gwasudde mu kabaafu. But anyway, you read some comments. Let's say to the comments are many.
I'm butt naked, Seto, with my ball sack out.
I don't have the comments at all.
Lando said that Credo Mutua gave some truth about the information that was, of course, remanded by Dagon community about speaking European, uh, about the African spirituality. That was a comment from Lando. Credo Mutua from South Africa gave the truth. Yeah, the
Yeah,
lily
kiri
is
ekisajja ekyebiremu.
yeah, Lilith is portrayed as a demon in most Christian texts that actually talks about it. That was from Danny Harrison. Randall Winter, I talked some Dagons when I lived in New York, went over that, and I don't think I was ready that time. Lando, I think he was replying to Lando. Then Lando was like, I'm not that started. Look up Dr. Mono from Dagon University. I think the communication was between these two people.
Between that.
So Lando also say, Danny Harrison said, I've been researching how to manipulate dark matter as a tool of spiritual cleansing that has something to do with the manipulation of your chakras as form of like dark matter, which so so Land also says that the European FSD is one of the, of course, the fairy tale. He doesn't understand how energy, vibrations, and frequencies work. He has also basic knowledge of energy
Right.
dynamics, true powers.
Mm-hmm.
Danny Harrison said that you should really research of how creation and destruction are one and the same. In order for something to be created, something
must
must be.
be destroyed. True.
Yeah. So Lando said that absolutely, Danny, we of the universe from a perspective of human, which was no concept of how energy works. Thank you. Then he also said that he was talking to Lando. It's beautiful when you have good understanding of your universe, especially as Black people, because you begin to see how connected we are to it. So most Jewish people are secular. That's why the Kabbalah is big with them. So your mind is energy and doesn't reside in the body, and it is in the universe, which pure energy
Right.
before it is
Right.
considered
Doesn't start about it.
material. So then he said that a spirit is energy. Energy can't be created or destroyed. Therefore, you never actually die. You just get transferred to different matter. Hence, your body, an avatar. So, so it means that the body we are seeing now, what the bodies we are seeing now, they're just avatars. They're just puppets. So, so Danny also said that, by the way, Keith, Nish just sent me an invite for a meeting tomorrow. You might want to check it out. Anyway, as long as we remain divided on the lines of tribalism, religion, political ideology, and culture, we will always be chatter for our oppressors. Demarcation is a tool to destroy our identity as Africans. That was a comment from Lando. Then he also said that, yeah, it was the Portuguese sailed into East Africa and Northeast Africa. They saw how the Arab Turks were enslaving Africans and getting rich. So the Europeans cut and pasted it in the Americas and West Africa. That's true, but the Germans were particularly brutal. They did a lot of human experimentations. By the way, Germans did a lot of actually. I once even read certain like texts sometime back, like the black magic that we normally see around Europe, like its sources it was within that time of Hitler. Yeah, even the Illuminati,
Tebaba Asian things.
even those Illuminati stuff kind of shit. that they originated during the first during Hitler's time in Germany. I don't know whether this is true, kid.
What's that? What's true?
He was saying, Satu is saying that he wants you to clarify him on something he read in a text that most of the black magic or black spirituality that circulates around Europe and America was got in German during the days of Hitler.
No, 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 no. I was waiting for that. Hitler was an occultist, yes. That magic and that learning from systems came from Africa back in the seven, 800s, 800, about 1,003 to 400 years ago with the African Moors. They brought these practices, this knowledge into Europe, and Europe is still backward and dirty and fucked up. They don't call it
I
black
think
magic.
I
It's not
think
black magic. It's not black magic. It's just
yeah, I think this is connecting to the symbols on the flag
yeah.
during
I'm
the
talking about
occasion.
the German flag. The German flag. You talking about the old Nazi flag? That was an African. Yeah, those are African symbols. If you know what
Mm.
that means, the Nazi symbol is African. That goes back to ancient Africa. So the Nazi symbol is energy. What you see is it's it's
Energy.
it's a vortex. Yeah, it's a vortex of the masculine and the feminine energy coming together and rotating the masculine, rotating towards the masculine side. The masculine energy rotates clockwise. Feminine
Mm.
energy rotates counterclockwise. So if you look at a German flag and look at the symbol, you'll see that is rotating clockwise. So all these symbols came out of Africa.
Mm.
So it's old African spirituality that most people don't know. Most Africans don't know more. They were made colonized with Christianity and Islam. Africans don't know any of the old spiritual traditions, most of them. So that Nazi flag is actually African. It's a swastika. That comes out of Africa. Because you can look this up. It's say the ancient the ancient symbol, the ancient the images of the ancient swastika.
Mm.
That and you see that German symbol was in Africa thousands of years ago. They just like white people do. They come and steal your knowledge and claim it as their own. And then black people don't know that was the knowledge that they had that they gave to white people. Just like that goofy Bible. That Bible is nothing but prepackaged African spirituality.
That it is like images of the ancient swastika.
Yeah, images of the ancient swastika.
Swastika.
That German flag you see was in Africa thousands of years ago. That's not their symbol. That's an African symbol. Africans took all over the world, and depending on which way it was rotating, it was masculine and feminine energy coming together.
Mm.
Now, if you pull it up, you see that symbol. That symbol's ancient. The Germans just hijacked it.
Mm.
And that, since they're evil, they take our symbols and make them evil. But that symbol is not evil.
Mm.
It was never based on being evil. It was showing you duality, black man, black woman, yin and yang. I think we lost them again. If they come back in 10 minutes, I gotta shut it down. My voice is about to go out. Shout out to all 340 of you guys here on Twitter. I mean, on Twitter. Shout out to all 340 of you guys on Twitter. Hit the follow button. It's free. All 340 of you guys on Twitter, hit the follow button. I gotta save my voice for later on tonight. I gotta come on and do a show later on tonight. If I can. Oh shit. Oh, shit, they make it back on. Yeah, it's you, Lando. Yep, that's true too, Gino Mosquito. That's true too. Oh shit. Tired. Up since 4 o'clock this morning. Shit. I sure is tired. Oh shit. Excuse me. Hey back. There they go. Good. Shit. Hey back. Hey back.
In in
Good, 'cause my voice is gone. Hey back. Shit. I can
one
do it.
thing you don't understand is the worship of the Hmm. Adus. That is the image I guess. Yeah, the swastika. Then that Keith was actually talking about was, I guess, Keith has been cut off by either network or what. I don't know. Yeah, so that's what we have been doing. Right. Now, anyway, back to our topic. Um, anyway, thank you, Keith, for taking us through that some facts about religion